You're tuned in to this week's episode of The Local Lens, the show where we go inside our community's experience with the drug epidemic. And this week, we are talking to a couple guys who are currently in a rehab program right now, and another guy who's a recent graduate of the same program.
You know, it didn't take 19, 20 years of being an addiction to happen overnight. So I can't think that this is going to happen overnight, of changing my life and doing a whole turnaround. So it keeps me sitting still for, and I got my eyes on the prize, but I know what I got to do, to be able to have my kids and everything,
We're coming from Shepherd Shelter Ross Rehab in Mount Sterling, Kentucky. We're hoping to see what their experience is like in this program.
My granny sold pain pills. My mama sold pain pills. My stepdaddy, he used to write his own prescriptions, and he ended up going to prison for that. And I remember just being so spoiled growing up in the 90s, and then once they started cracking down with the Casper, and shutting everything down and making it harder to get pain pills, my way of living drastically changed by the time I became a teenager, and I just wasn't going for it. When you've been raised up in a certain lifestyle, then all of a sudden, you can't have all that nice stuff, jewelry, nice shoes, clothes. Well, I'll make sure I get it, So I've been selling drugs since 13, 14, I started selling marijuana.
If this is your background and that's the kind of example you've been shown, then it's probably going to take outside intervention to see life in a different way. And that's where these in-house treatment programs come into play.
If you see someone that is caught in addiction, try to remember it's a disease. It is something we have to battle with. We have to have treatment to get better. Without the treatment, we are going to drain everyone around us, and most likely jails, institutions, and death. Those are the only things that we can get out of active addiction. Because it is a disease. It's something we cannot fight by ourselves. We have to have help.
So we're going to be diving in here at Shepherd Shelter Ross Rehab and seeing what it's like for these participants in the program. We're actually starting a series with Shepherd Shelter Ross Rehab as well. We're going to be there for the next couple episodes. We're going to be seeing what the ins and outs of this place is like, because they've been successfully doing recovery in their community for several years now. This conversation is pretty loosely structured. We're all over the place a little bit, but there's a lot of ground to cover with these guys. So, just strap yourself in and we'll get through it. We'll listen to it all, right? Thank y'all once again for tuning in. I'm your host, Nate Brooks from the Powell County Health Department and Kentucky Rio, and you're listening to The Local Lens. These are our people using our voices, telling our stories, because no one sees it like we do.
My name is Jeff.
I'm William.
And I'm Travis.
William and Travis are both currently in the recovery program at Shepherd Shelter Ross Rehab. Jeff is a recent graduate himself and is now on staff at Ross Rehab working as a peer support specialist, which means that he is there to offer his lived experience and help the new guys find their way through their recoveries.
How long have you been a peer support?
I've been a peer support since June of this year.
Okay. So, what's that, like 4 months or something like that? Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
It's going good.
Yeah. You enjoying it?
Yes, very rewarding.
How long ago was it when you were in rehab here?
I graduated here last December.
Okay.
And then started my peer support internship, and then went to the training course, and then graduated, and they offered me the job.
And people seem to have been liking this place pretty well.
Oh, it's awesome here.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was here once before. I got here out of jail. I came here in January this year, but I ended up running March 1st. But I got picked back up 4 months later, and I wanted to come back, and it's been a whole different experience for me this time.
So when you said you wanted to come back here, like did they let you come back here instead of jail, or how did that work?
The judge just gave me another chance at rehab, and I told the lawyers just to send me back where I was at.
Okay. That's pretty good then. If they can, if you get to have some kind of choice in that, then yeah. So the first time you were here, though, were you here because you wanted to come here, or were you assigned to?
I thought I wanted to be here, because I'm looking at, I still got a lot of time over my head, and but like they say, when you get hit, the doors ain't locked, and I've never had a problem living on the run before, but I don't know, it's just something that I want to change, I want it. You know, I've never lived sober since I was 11, 12 years old, and it's never been a problem in my family. I mean, generations sold drugs and dope, and it's just something I figured that's what I had to do. You know, it was what I'm supposed to do. But coming here and the classes I mean, it's opened my eyes to a whole side of life I've never seen or experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers to it then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How about you? How long have you been here?
Been here about 40 days, in between 40 and 50. Believe it or not, I was in jail with him, and that's where I even heard of this place. And I knew that it was faith-based. I've previously been to another program that was real hardcore into the recovery dynamics and taught everything about it, but they had no spirituality or religious aspect to it at all. It was, you know, you got to step 3 and it was just a God of your conception, and I left it at that. It doesn't work if you just do the 12 steps. You actually have to have the higher power. So when he told me about this place, I had actually told my placement lady, you know, I want a faith-based, and I mentioned this place, and she, this was the first place she actually brought up to me, and that was it. She came and did the paperwork, and I got here, and yeah, it's actually pretty amazing. Sometimes we don't like to do things because, well, we're addicts and alcoholics, and
we're people
we fight
too.
the system.
People don't like doing things sometimes.
Change is never comfortable. That's part of it. But the more you allow stuff to happen, the better it becomes. And if you need to find a God of your understanding, here's a very good place to do that. They definitely provide that aspect amazingly.
So I'm going to ask you, similar to what I asked him, it was like the first program you were in, were you wanting to be at that one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Actually, a lot of people are like, oh no, that place, I don't want to go there, because of the hardcore 8 to 4, sitting at a table, doing recovery dynamics. But here, one of the classes, the man teaches recovery dynamics, but then they also there's another person that does, you know, dealing with emotions and feeling them and actually going through them and how to get through different emotions. And then, like I said, they've also got the spiritual, religious part of it down, so actually get all 3 of them here instead of just, oh, well, here's the steps, this is how you work them, and that's it. You get to learn how to deal with your emotions. You know, you get the spirituality here. If you don't get the spirituality here, then I don't know, something.
You don't want it.
Yeah, you don't want it, because it's definitely available.
Yeah.
How often are the 3 of you guys together? Because like I know, like it's
all day,
all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, I work 8 to 4:30 usually every day. So, and completely, my job description is to be on the floor interacting with the guys. I teach residential classes, but other than that, I'm there for the guys.
Okay. And then the 2 of you guys are both like still living here?
Yeah, we're in the same phase and everything. Yeah. So.
Okay. Do you guys like? What do you have bedrooms or anything, or like you sleep in
bunk beds?
Bunk beds.
Yeah,
Okay.
You usually have 2 to 3 people in a room.
Okay. Yeah. Are you guys roommates?
No.
Okay.
We're neighbors.
We're neighbors.
Yeah, neighbors.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's got to be kind of fun though, you know, being around that many guys like at a time. Or is that like, what's that like for you guys?
I've never had this much fun in my life since I was a child playing football. I mean,
it gets referred to summer camp all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's we play volleyball out there, and that I didn't know it could bring so much competitiveness out of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it gets real on the volleyball court.
Yeah. Oh man, no. Volleyball it can get as intense as you're willing to make it, man. Yeah, volleyball's a good game.
Yeah.
But okay, so that's pretty cool then, because like when, like I feel like there's a perception of what happens at like a rehab facility.
Almost definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to 17, so
I've been to 17 of them.
Yeah.
Okay, rank them, right?
Yeah.
No.
This one, we're more about the spiritual side of it, so we tell everybody we're forever family here. Like, and that's true. Like I said, I went through the program, I came in here with nothing, and today, I'm getting ready to get married. I have a forever family here. They treat you like family here. Like, we celebrate birthdays, our sobriety dates, we have parties for it. GED, yeah. Like, I'm head of GED. I help them get their GEDs if they do not have it. And like most everybody that works here went through this program, or they have addiction in their life. If it ain't a family member, it's somebody. So we keep our classes and stuff. Like, I know what it was like to sit through them classes, and I know how monotonous it gets. So I switch it up for them. One day we'll watch a video, next day we'll go out and we'll do something. I try to keep it entertaining, because if it's not, they're going to get bored, they're going to get complacent, and that's when their mind starts wandering and they want out that door.
And then, so when that's got to be a pretty stressful thing to be trying to lead that class then, like knowing the weight of it.
Yes.
Too. A lot of what happens at rehabs is classes, right? Yes. How do you guys respond to being in classes? Because I know, students don't like going to classes. Like in high school, high schoolers hate being in classes. So how do you guys approach classes here?
I enjoy class. Like I said, I've never lived a responsible lifestyle. So all these things are teaching me. I know that I'm definitely going to need them. And I'm engaged. And they keep you, on your toes, and really, it ain't never boring, or you just sitting there wishing you could be out. Like, no, it's running real smooth. It's a good place to be.
Do you guys ever think about leaving here or anything?
This is what I've been struggling on with recently. Since I'm in Gateway class, and it's a class we got to take just to be able to go to work after 100 days of being here, which is great. And but they're doing this. The last week we're doing 24/7 dads, and I got 5 kids, and I've been absent out of their life for probably 5-6 years now. And I just went on a home pass not too long ago and hung out with 4 of them, and I sit and think, like, and you were saying when the class gets boring, I'll daydream a little bit about how I want to be with them. And I'm sober now, I just want to go. I want the instant gratification. I want to go get it now, But in reality, I know I can't do that. I'll be wanted before I get to the end of the street corner, and but I also know that it didn't take 19, 20 years of being an addiction to happen overnight. So I can't think that this is going to happen overnight, of changing my life and doing a whole turnaround. So it keeps me sitting still for, and I got my eyes on the prize, but I know what I got to do, to be able to have my kids and everything,
It's a pretty big lesson learned to see how much patience that recovery takes. And it seems like these guys are catching on to that. And another process that deals a lot with patience is dealing with your emotions. We hinted on it a little bit earlier, and we're going to dive into it more now.
I've not talked to anybody about like how they process like emotional stuff yet. When you've been learning how to deal with that, has that been successful, do you think? Like, do you think what are you learning with that?
Definitely more successful than before. First, you learn that it's okay to feel them. You don't have to cover them up and hide them with drugs and alcohol and whatever else it may be that you're addicted to. Because even people that don't do drugs and alcohol in life doesn't mean that they don't do the same thing, cover up emotions.
Absolutely.
They're never fun to deal with, but that's part of growth and learning, is to feel the emotion and be able to get through it. They give us real good tools to not only notice the emotion, but things to do after the emotion comes, and then how to deal with it, which in turn, with time, becomes much easier, and it soon will be a process that just happens, instead of having to stop. This is happening, this is what I got to do. But they definitely provide that, and one of the best parts is they let you know you can feel the emotion. It's going to happen. Feel it, deal with it, get through it in a responsible manner, without acting out or trying to cover it up.
Yeah. So, Jeff, you're giving some amens to this as this is going on.
See, that was one of my main problems when I was out there in my addiction. I was raised in foster cares and stuff, so I learned how to shut my emotions down like real quick because they pried off of that in there. You know, they would prey on you if you was weak, younger, or anything. So when I got here, I didn't know how to even recognize an emotion at all. And one of our therapists, that's what she specializes in, and we went through trauma class, and that's what I recommend to the guys every time. If you have any type of trauma in your life, hit up Lisa's trauma class because it hurts at first, but once you come out of that class completed, you're a totally different person. Your mind's back to normal, you know. Like, because I have a big abandonment issues and stuff like that from the foster cares, and when I came out of that class, I realized that, you know, with the help of the God that I now have, you know, I realized I am worthy, I am worth something, and that I can be somebody today.
So there's like one thing we hear quite a bit too doing the show is that like there's like your vision's cloudy when you're in addiction, and then once you get it clean and out in recovery, then like it feels a lot clearer. Do you guys agree with that or anything? Like, where are you at in that process, do you think?
Definitely. It definitely becomes more clear. I mean, granted, I had 4.5 months sitting in jail before I got here where I was clean, but I was still in the criminal mentality thinking, and you know, I know everything. I've already got all this knowledge, which, you know, and sitting through classes, for me, I don't get bored because it's on one side nice to have knowledge I know confirmed, and then on the other side, I'm learning something new, and that's always nice too.
For me, like I came from jail. Also, I was locked up 3 months, and then 4 months. I was on the run 4 months after I ran here. Got locked up for 3. So when I came here, I was sober. But like you were saying, that mentality of just impulse. You know, when I feel an emotion, I don't think about it. I just act on it. So that's gotten really better. You know, so I think before I act like I'm supposed to do. You know, and not like an animal.
But that's hard to learn how to do, though, you know?
It is.
Yeah, it takes time.
Yeah.
When you were in jail, what was going through your head then? Like, looking forward, what did you think was your next step after that?
Oh, well, before I was blessed with the opportunity to get shock probation, granted that I complete rehab, I went to jail and I knew they were revoking me. I was doing 15 years, and I was totally prepared for that. So, you know, for the first couple months, I knew, okay, it's time to get into this mentality. It's time to stay in this mentality. This is what I'm going to have to do. And then as soon as I was told, you know, that I was going to have the opportunity to come to rehab and live life on life's terms, my thinking changed a little bit, but it wasn't until I actually got here and saw that, you know, yeah, it is more open. I get to walk outside, smoke a cigarette. We get to play games. We get good food. We got a good bed to sleep on.
Yeah, we got it made.
Yeah. But the fact that they're teaching us not just, you know, this is recovery. They're teaching us that you're going to have responsibilities. You're going to have to do these things while dealing with emotions and living a proper lifestyle. And it, like he said, after 100 days, we get to go work. We're still in the program, but this place actually provides more of a real life experience to where you're going to have stuff to do. You're going to have some free time where you still have to know how to be clean and be a good person in general. But, you know, they show you this is life, and this is what it's going to be like, whether you're here or not here. And you can either make it or not make it. I mean, that's pretty much, there's only two sides of the coin. Yeah. And they provide that. So being here, you know, slowly over a period of time, it definitely gets a lot easier to do the next right thing, which hopefully will become just doing the right thing.
Yeah. See, I can relate with all that because I was locked up for 8 months before I got here, and you heard of drug court, obviously, you do recovery. So I took that simple 18-month program, and I've turned it into a 5-year program. Yeah. So, and I caught new charges when I was coming here. I caught a contraband charge, and I was like, oh, they're going to violate me. They're going to send me to prison. I sat 8 months in jail because COVID just struck when I went. So it was at the very beginning of COVID. So I'm like, yep, I'm going to prison. So I was ready and getting the jailhouse mentality. And I went downstairs and my lawyer's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm in jail. I just don't get to leave when I want. She's like, no, you're supposed to be in treatment. And I was like, well, get me there. You know? Yeah. So I was supposed to go to the one in Moorhead, which this is where I say God, stepped in and intervened and took the wheel for me, because I was supposed to go to MIC, where you can walk around and do whatever you want pretty much. Like that one, you can leave and go wherever you want on the weekends. And we were on the interstate, and that's where I thought I was going. And they pull off from Mount Stern. I'm like, what, we need gas or something? You gonna let me smoke? And he's like, no, your rehab's right up here. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. And when I got here, I had my spiritual experience the very first day I was here. Like, we have church every Tuesday and Saturday. I came in on a Tuesday night. And as soon as that, like, I believe I've been delivered from my addiction. Like, because I believe Jesus Christ can do that. And my mentality instantly changed. Like, I was willing, ready to go. Like, because I've been to different rehabs, like, and I've been everywhere. And what we try to do here is we want them, because I've noticed most rehabs, like the other ones I was at, when you're done, you're done. They don't care what's going to happen to you. You're a paycheck to them. Not here. We with you for your first 30 days. We make sure your mind's right. After that 30-day fog's up, then we start getting you more classes on, how to deal with life. When they hit that 100-day mark, if they're still in the program, but they're allowed to go to work and save money.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And then when they graduate the 180 days, that's when they're done. They have an option to go to our Transitional Living, which is like a sober living house, or they have money saved up and they can go back home, and they're not just going out with nothing. Because if you go out with nothing, what are you going to do? You're going to go right back to your old ways. Because you got to get money. We got to survive.
Yeah, I love it about that, because I can't go back home. Like, that is not an option. Like, I can't do it. There's just too much. It's temptation, but it's not temptation like up here. I don't know nobody except for who's here. And that's who I wanted to stay in contact with, because it's a lot easier when you see somebody high at the gas station and just ignore them. Other than people coming up to you where they know you, here, I got something for you. I just don't want to have to deal with that,
Where is home for you?
Frankfurt. I don't even want to get my kids out of it. It's a rough neighborhood. Like, it's rough. And I just don't want to be no part of that no more. I've lived everywhere though. I've lived in Louisville, and it's crazy where my addiction has took me, and where it's led me now. So, and I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in God, and this is God sent to me getting here. I don't question that one bit. Yeah.
So you said earlier there was kind of like a generational thing in your family too.
Yeah. I remember being a kid, like my granny sold pain pills, my mama sold pain pills, my stepdaddy, he used to write his own prescriptions, and he ended up going to prison for that. And I remember just being so spoiled growing up in the 90s, and then once they started cracking down with the Casper, and shutting everything down and making it harder to get pain pills, my way of living drastically changed by the time I became a teenager, and I just wasn't going for it. When you've been raised up in a certain lifestyle, then all of a sudden, you can't have all that nice stuff, jewelry, nice shoes, clothes. Well, I'll make sure I get it, So I've been selling drugs since 13, 14. I started selling marijuana. The time I was 16, 17, Oxycontin, and then in my 20s, heroin, and then it got progressively worse. I started using it, and it just took me some pretty dark places. It just made me do things that I'm not proud of doing at all, and yeah.
So if you look at somebody that comes from a background like that, that's the example of what life looks like to them. How do you expect they're going to grow up? That's where outside intervention comes in. That's where somebody else steps in and shows them what life could look like. And that's what Shepherd Shelter Ross Rehab is doing.
If you guys can address people that have nothing to do with addiction themselves, or are completely against recovery,
like don't even understand it.
Don't understand it at all. Yeah, completely foreign world to them.
Right.
What would you say to them?
I'd let them know, addiction is not discriminative. It does not care who you are. If you can be, I've been in rehabs with lawyers. I've been in rehabs with judges. I've been in rehabs with homeless people. It does not care. Like, it can be anybody. It could be your neighbor next door. You know, just don't look at addicts as, you know, thieves, anything. Like, that's the drugs making us do that. People are not bad people. It's the drugs making us the bad people. Like, I've done things that I never thought I'd ever do. And now that I'm a newborn believer in Christ, you know, some of the things I'm like, man, I can't believe I ever did that. But when I go back and look, I was a meth addict for 15 years, you know. Meth destroys your brain. And it's just that it can happen to anybody, and that it is possible. Like, they say 2% of people that are active meth users stay positive. I will be that 2%, you know what I mean? I will make sure of that.
When you say stay positive, like stay like
they get that mindset. Yeah, they get that mindset back, because like they say that psychosis. You ever heard of know? Yeah. People, most meth users stay in a little. It might not be that bad psychosis where you're out there seeing helicopters when they're not here, but the way meth is used, the euphoria you get when you stop using it, you don't get that no more, and your brain stops making that. So if you're depressed all the time, you're going to eventually go back to what made you happy. And like, I'm a firm believer, like, meth is one of the worst ones out there right now. It may not kill you, but it destroys you.
If I could say anything to people that, you know, don't have nothing to do with recovery and don't understand it, whether you believe in Jesus or God or whatever it is, it's a spiritual warfare. Like, them drugs open up a doorway to people to a dark presence inside that, at first, it might be a choice, getting high, but it turns out to be not. You can't help it. You have a power over you that you can't control. And it makes you do things, steal from people you love, do awful things to people you love. And it's not you. It really isn't you. Whether people believe that or not, you know, I can only speak from my experiences. But there's a lot of good people, you know what I mean, that's just got caught up in the addiction, and it's terrible. It really is. And, you know, and the thing about it, people that don't understand, you have no right. You have no. You don't have to trust that person, but at the same time, we've never gave nobody no reason to trust us or nothing because of the things we've done. But also, people change. You know, people do want better if they in recovery. You know, and you know, just don't judge a book by its cover. You know, give people a chance. You know, that's all. That's what I got on it.
Give people a chance. Yeah. Love that. Yeah. Thank you, man.
Yep.
Thank you.
If I could say anything to somebody who doesn't believe in or doesn't even know about recovery, it may be cliche for us, but addiction is a disease, plain and simple. If your family member had cancer, you wouldn't be like, oh gosh, we gotta go, you know, get them cancer treatment, and oh man, what a drag on us, and oh, they're taking our time. It's a disease. So if you see someone that is caught in addiction, try to remember it's a disease. It is something we have to battle with. We have to have treatment to get better. Without the treatment, we are going to drain everyone around us, and most likely jails, institutions, and death. Those are the only things that we can get out of active addiction, because it is a disease. It's something we cannot fight by ourselves. We have to have help.
Thank you, Travis.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Guys, this has been great. Yeah, thank you all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in once again to hear the local lens from the Powell County Health Department and Kentucky Rio. We want to send a big thanks to these guys for being on the show. You guys came on and talked about what your honest worries were and gave your honest thoughts. We really appreciate it. We couldn't do the show without you guys telling your story for us. We also want to thank WSKV for helping us broadcast the show. We want you guys to tune back in for the next couple episodes that come out. We're going to stay in Shepherd Shelter, Ross Rehab. And if you like what you're hearing, then be sure to tell your friends about it. This is the local lens. These are our people using our voices, telling our stories, because no one sees it like we do.